I'm operating out of a new streaming system, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it works and people can see me. So we'll see how we go. I've just got to set a few things up and see. Nope, it doesn't look like that's working there. All right. Yes, so it is Tuesday chat, and as usual, I'm here every Tuesday. But like I said, I'm trying a new system here. I'm thinking it's called Restream. It's a new streaming service that I can maybe stream to a few different channels at once. So just to try and save a little bit of time. It's supposed to be streaming into Instagram, but I'm just looking at that at the moment and can't seem to find where that is supposed to be working from. All right. Hi, Karen. Let me know if you found me okay. Because like I said, you can probably tell the layout's a little bit different. I've got my logo up there, name down there. I can put comments on the screen, like Karen just said hello. So and it's supposed to be streaming to a couple of places, to YouTube and Instagram as well as Facebook. Okay, but I don't know if it is actually. So I'm not sure that the Instagram stream's working. I'm just trying to get that to work here, but nothing's really happening over there, so that's all right. I don't usually go live in Instagram anyway. So Karen, hopefully you can hear me okay and that the others can find me. Found you through Facebook. Nothing seemed different. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's good. All right. Just let me check everything there. All right, so today is Tuesday chat. I know it could be a bit slower for people to find me, but yeah, if you found me, then it should be pretty good. Oh, Odette's on as well. Awesome. Okay, so this could be fun, so you'll just have to bear with me. Okay, so today's Tuesday chat, I thought we could chat about packaging and posting your art or your prints, and make sure they look professional and and they're safe when you post them. There's nothing worse than, especially if it's a beautiful painting you've just finished and someone has bought it and you want to send it off and you're not sure what to do or how to get it there safely and securely. So that's what I thought we would chat about today. And I have a checklist, a packaging checklist, which I've put the link. Let's do this. Okay, that link is too long to follow, but I've put the link in the comments, so you should just be able to click on that and download it. And of course, those in the membership, I'll place the checklist with this recording in the group. Okay. All right. So I'm just a little bit thrown because I don't know. I'm imagining a lot of insurance. Oh, yep. Yeah. Yes and no, I suppose. It depends on the price of your artwork. All right. That's not going there. Okay, cool. Okay, so let me get my notes up. Oh, Jennifer's on as well. Awesome. Hi, Jen. Okay. So, of course, one of the most nerve-wracking parts of being an artist is sending your artwork off into the world out there. I know as a beginner, it's probably not something you've had to do yet, but inevitably as you start to sell work, then especially if you're doing commissions, maybe you have portraits, you might want to stick right at the start with your local area. So then you can have people come to you, or you can meet them somewhere, or if you have a market stall or something like that, they can pick up from there. But as word of mouth gets around, like they'll have a family member that they'll share your portrait to, and then maybe they live in Sydney or you know, somewhere else, and then the postage will start to happen. So packaging it really securely, of course, is important. And even just prints, you want your stuff to look professional as well. Okay, so whether it's a sold original, a commission, or a print, getting it from your studio to the buyer in perfect condition can be quite stressful, but it doesn't have to be. So with a few tried and true tips and a little planning, we can confidently package and post your art out. Okay, I've sent work overseas, and I've sent it all over Australia, all different states. So I'll go through how I've done it, and also some little. I'll show you a few little. I don't even know what to call them. Little printables, sort of thing that you can package with your work to make it look more professional, and also it's a little gift as well for your customer. So, all right. I'm still trying to get used to all of the things around me on this screen. So like for those that weren't here right at the start, I'm trying out a new streaming setup. So I'm not going straight through Facebook like I normally do, or Zoom. I'm going through a different program, so I can put your comments on the screen. I can hopefully share my screen a little bit easier. But the main thing was, it's supposed to be streaming this in YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, but I don't think I've got Instagram working properly, so I'll have to try some tests on that. So anyway, all right. So yeah, just bear with me if I can't find something. Hi, Alexandra, as well. Oh, good. I'm glad it looks good. Okay, cool. So think of your packaging as protective armor for your art. So damaged corners or smudged surfaces or broken glass can turn an exciting moment for your customer into a really disappointing one. So good packaging not only protects your art, but it also reflects your professionalism and the care as the artist. So, you know, if you want people to take you seriously, but also know how much you love your art, then the care in the packaging shows that as well. So it can make it feel like it's something really special and really precious if your packaging is good. Okay. Hi, Lane. All right, I've got to stop looking at the comments. Okay, so we'll quickly run through a few supplies that you need. So these are just some common items that if you have all this, it'll make your packaging process a little bit easier. I know some artists that do a lot of prints and stuff, they have okay, maybe if you've got a big studio, they have a separate packaging area or table. Myself, I just have one table in here, so I usually have to clean the table off first before I can do the packaging. But if you try and make, like we were talking about studio habits the other week, so I'm trying to make a conscious effort of keeping my table fairly clean, so that when I do have to package, I've got that nice big table. Otherwise, I can go upstairs and use the dining table, of course. But you want to have a clean space when you're packaging as well, and have the things on hand. So you might want rigid mailers or mailing tubes, so you can pre-purchase those, of course, or you can get them to order more or less. Like you can just go to your post office and buy those as you need them. But of course, anything pre-ordering, if you know you have set size of prints and that's the only size you do, you could pre-order some rigid mailers online. And of course, usually when you're buying multiple, it's cheaper, and you can also source some cheaper places than just the post office as well. Glassine paper, of course, if you do pastel work, you'll know what glassine is. So it's just shiny on both sides. So I buy that. You can buy it by a roll, but I usually buy it by sheets. They're about, I think they're 70 by 50, and I usually buy about 20, 30 at a time, and that way I've always got glassine on hand. So that I use it when I'm working, but also storing my work and also packaging, just to protect, especially if you're using Pastel. And then foam board or cardboard sheet, so some rigid, that's why I like foam board, because it's really rigid, rather than cardboard can bend a little bit. And then bubble wrap, packing tape. You could have some do not bend and fragile stickers. You could make those up yourself, or I think you can buy those pretty cheap. Anyway, they're quite a common sticker. But I think I've got a big roll of fragile, so it's a roll and it's just got fragile as you unroll it. And I think I just got that from the post office or online. So that's handy to have that as well. And then, of course, some plastic sleeves to put your prints in, and even corner protectors. So that is for if you're sending a frame piece. So and then, of course, you've got branded stickers, thank you cards, care instructions, certificates of authenticity, all of that to include that special touch. Okay, so yeah, I'll go through some other stuff in a minute. I just want to go through my notes first, and then let me know if you've packaged artwork yet, if you've had an opportunity to have to send artwork overseas or even internationally, nationally, just into a different state maybe. And let me know how you went about packaging it and whether it was a bit scary as well. I did. See, this is what I like about this new thing. Odette said, "Do not bend means throw me around." 100% it does, and I'll mention an art courier that doesn't do that, but you've got to pay for the service, of course. But yes, I know here, I'm sure everywhere is the same, but good old Australia Post are pretty good at just throwing things around. Oh, hi, Andrea. I'm glad you were able to write in the comments now. So that's good. But yeah, and I'm sure you're here, all different countries seem to have trouble with their local posting services. But I mean, yeah, Australia Post are pretty good. They're good here because we're in a little town. We have just our postie. He goes above and beyond. If it's raining or looks like rain, he'll drive right up my driveway, which is quite a long driveway, through a gate up to the house, and he'll put my packaging under the veranda, and especially if I'm not home, and then back out through the gate, shut the gate, so he does go above and beyond. Whereas I know in town, you're lucky, that you always end up, they say they knock with their packages, but I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm pretty sure they just shove the collect notice in your letterbox, so you then have to drive in and get it. So yeah. All right, so packaging your flat artwork, so like prints and your pastel pieces, I suppose, if you're sending them unframed, drawings, all that sort of stuff. So first of all, we need to protect the surface, especially, I think pastel's probably the most delicate of anything to post, especially unframed without glass or anything to protect it. Jennifer. I like sharing comments. This is fun. Jennifer said, "I'm pretty sure some postal workers here bounce packages like rubbish balls." Hi, Lynn. Yeah, definitely, 100%, Jennifer. I think, like I said, you're in Canada. I think it's worldwide. All right. So that's what I use my glassine for straight away. So I'll get my pastel piece. It's usually on, I usually draw it on pastel matte. So it's quite a thick sort of cardboard. And then I'll put glassine over the top and tape it all around. So kind of, but use a decent size bit of glassine and put it across and under, and definitely, and tape it nicely, make it look like you've taken care in even just putting the glassine on top. Okay, so and that will prevent any smudging, okay, and your work. And we're going to make sure we're going to package it tight so it can't move as well. But first thing is to get that face protected. So whether that's a graphite drawing or charcoal, pastel, you could probably even do exactly the same with oils and acrylics, and watercolor especially as well. And then you could then put a backing board. So like this is where the foam core or the cardboard comes in, and that you can then tape. Maybe you could just use cardboard there, because this is like the inside layer. So you could then put cardboard and tape it to that. And because if you've used pastel mat, it can bend. And also, say if we're talking about a watercolor paper, it's quite flimsy. So once we've got our glassine on, we could then tape it to some cardboard and make sure it's going to be nice and rigid, I suppose. Okay, then you could put it into a plastic sleeve or something like that if you wanted, depending on the size, of course. If you're talking something small, you can then slide that into a plastic sleeve. You can have a little logo sticker or something on that sleeve, and then it looks quite nice. I've just got so this is a plastic sleeve. This is just a print with a matte board around it. So even with your own work, you could put a matte board around that. If this was an original pastel in here, I would put glassine inside over the top of it, because I wouldn't want my pastel touching this plastic sleeve. And then on the back, so it's a matte board there, but also it's got a full sheet of matte board on the back. Okay, so it's just nicely packaged. It's in the clear sleeve. It looks quite professional, I suppose. Then once you've got all that, then we want to make sure I then would sandwich it in between foam core board. Okay, and what I do is I get some foam board a little bit bigger than the size I'm posting, sit that on it and tape it to it so it can't move, and then another piece of foam board over the top, and tape that together like it's sandwiched in between the two foam boards, and it's all taped together. It can't move, so you could shake it, and because you've taped it down onto the bottom piece of foam board, it can't slide around, it can't move. Okay, that's the most important thing when you're posting something that like an original piece or print. You don't want to move around and damage corners or anything, because the minute things start sliding, that's when the corners get damaged. And especially if it's an original piece, even though we've now put the glassine over the face of it, but the main thing is we can't have it moving at all. Okay, so you've got to keep that in mind when you're packaging this. And then once I've secured it in some foam board, then you can then wrap it in your bubble wrap. Okay, and then either post, or usually bubble wrap, depending where you're posting it through, but then you could put it into a box, or you could actually, as a print or an original, I don't think I put bubble wrap over it. Then that was rigid enough and secure enough that I would then I'd probably tape it quite well around and then post like that. If it's a framed piece, that's when we'll start putting bubble wrap and then slide it into a box. But framed piece is a little bit different. Michelle says, let me show you. You shipped nationally and you included a cheap frame with the piece, seeing it as pastel. Okay. You always frame it because you're scared of smudging it. And then send prepaid postage in bubble wrap and cardboard. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, with the frame piece, we would then, so I've sent frame stuff around Australia. So I've sent it a couple of ways. So, yeah, so again, what I would do with the framed piece is I would put, so you're thinking you've got it in a frame and glass, of course. So there's always that little gap between the glass and the top of the frame, isn't there? So I usually put a piece of foam board or cardboard on top of that glass and tape that down. And that way it makes it more level with the top of the frame, if you understand what I mean. And it sort of protects the glass a bit more. So I usually would do that. And then that's when you'd also add some corner protectors on the frame. And then I'd wrap it all in bubble wrap quite a few times. And then it goes into either a cardboard box or, again, you could sandwich that between foam core board. But, yeah, hopefully or make a box up. Like, I've got so many boxes here. We all get things sent in the mail, don't we, in boxes. So you can usually sort of reposition one of those into a box that you can put it into. But also, again, make sure you fill any gaps. If you put it in a box, fill any gaps with bubble wrap or sheets of old, like, scrap paper, things like that. Again, you don't want things moving. I think that's the biggest trick, is nothing moving around. But yeah, I've sent just pastel artwork over to the UK that wasn't framed. So I just, again, sandwiched it between the foam core, made sure the glassine was on top, and it got there fine. And I've sent some in around Australia too, unframed. And as long as you've got the glassine on and making sure nothing can move, and then I would definitely go foam core over cardboard, then it really can't get damaged. It can get thrown around and it's pretty secure. So so that's sort of how I've sent that compared to a frame, where a frame, of course, I know some people like to tape the glass as well. If you're going to tape the glass on a framed piece, make sure you use a low tack masking tape, and that sort of, it'll come off easy for the customer. But I just feel it doesn't look nice, does it, when you're sending a piece and it's got tape all over the glass? And then if they peel it off and it leaves residue, they've got to clean it and that, which, you're trying to convey an image of, like, a really high-end product. So I think having tape on the glass is not good. That's why I usually just put the foam board or cardboard on top of the glass and tape it, just to sort of protect it a little bit. I think with the taping the glass, it won't stop the glass breaking if it's going to break. But what it does, it sort of holds the glass together a bit so it doesn't end up with pieces all over the place. Okay, so let me see. Who else? Lynn, you just came back from the post office. I've returned your package and you reckon they dropped it. Vivian, how do you get large glassine? Is it best to get a roll, or does it come in large sheets? I buy mine in the sheet size. If you go to your local art shop, they should have glassine by the sheets. And but I have ordered it before, usually online. A lot of times you'll see it comes as a roll, which is fine as well. But make sure your roll's, like, decent size, not just, you can get some really small rolls, so make sure you get a decent roll. It probably doesn't really matter. The sheets, like I said, I buy them 50 by 70, and that's what my local art shop sells. And I was in an art shop in Tassie. I think I bought about 25 sheets of it. I think you'd have to look online. I'm pretty sure I have bought it from softpastels.com.au before by the sheet, but I was also ordering, because when you think about it, it's quite floppy by the sheet. So, but I was ordering pastel mat from there as well. So it was packaged with the pastel mat in the cardboard, so it was all rigid. But I think sending it as a sheet, if you just buy, say, 10 sheets of it, they would have to roll it anyway to send it because it's kind of floppy. So yeah. Let me see. Where do you get your mat board from? Alexandra asks, where do you get my mat board from? Just my local framer, actually. I don't really actually for these, I tell a lie, I didn't get these from my local framer. I got these online. There was a company, they're down the Sunshine Coast, I think. They have a eBay shop and it's called Deck the Walls. Deck the Walls. And they sell, but just go on eBay and just have a look. They sell pre-cut mat boards, and these were the A3 size mat cut to A4, and it comes like this. So it comes with the mat board that's cut, it comes with the backing board, and then it comes with the sleeves as well. Absolutely brilliant. They are limited for color. I think they only have, this is the off-white. I think they had black, white, and off-white. And there's only a few sizes. But the fact it already comes with the sleeves, the cut mat, the backing board, and then they're my A4 prints. Yeah, great. Just, I didn't have to do anything. They arrive. All I've got to do is throw my print in there, and we're done. So it would maybe be cheaper. I can't remember how much they were, but look up Deck the Walls. But for saving time, sometimes can be worth a lot of money. So for me, time is quite valuable. So I bought them that way, and then but make sure you add that price into what you're selling them for, of course. All right, Liam, you always enjoy what you share here on Facebook, but we are not friends yet. Okay, no worries, Liam. I'll look into that after. All right, here we go. Odette is a framer, so she knows her stuff when it comes to packaging as well. So she says try and use bundle tape instead of packaging tape. Odette, can you let me know what bundle tape is? I'm not sure. Michelle says you missed the first part. And if I was sending a print overseas, do you send as a letter or do you send in a satchel or prepaid? So what I do when I send overseas, like I said, if it's an original and depending on the size, I would sandwich it between foam board with glassine foam board, all tape secure. And I just, send it over, get the customer's address, send it to them, work out the pricing. Of course, they cover the shipping or however you've done that deal with them. If it's a print, a lot of times my post office here in Australia have these rigid mailers, they're called. So they're quite a thick sort of cardboard. And I would go and buy some of those. I think you can get those up to, I think you could probably get ones big enough to fit a print, even if it was matted like that. So a rigid mailer, again, they look professional as well because it's not, you haven't just thrown some cardboard together and thrown. You got to think about how it looks, and don't forget your customers should be paying for the postage, so you're adding this on, so the packaging and the postage, of course. Amazon sells rolls of glassine, Alexandra. All right, let's have a look at Jennifer's question. I have a question that's related to prints of our artwork, but not specifically about shipping. Can we print our sales with a good printer? And if so, what sort of printer do you recommend? Well, I would think I used to have, because we had a sign business, I used to have a big inkjet printer that printed on like stickers and that to put up on, like we used to do a lot of chemists. So you'll see big, images on their walls and that, and we had a digital printer that work that way. And I know that you could buy, it's all about the paper, really. So you could buy rolls of like the Hahnemuhle acid-free paper for that. Like, so I could have printed fine art prints and the inks as well. You've got to look at those as well, because depends what you want it for. If you're just, let me have a look. If you want a proper archival print done, then you're going to have to make sure you're getting the right paper and make sure your inks are good. So I haven't looked into it myself, but I know there are quite a few artists that do their own printing, but it'll be a few $1,000 machine. Our machine, okay, it was enormous, but it was like, I think it was a $30,000 machine or something like that. That was when they first came out. They're a lot cheaper now. It was an Epson. You can, of course, buy a smaller scale, but you wouldn't be able to print good quality prints. Just like my printer back there is like a $400 printer, and it's a great printer, but it probably, I don't think it would be able to print the good enough quality that I would be comfortable to sell, to say it was an archival print or an acid-free, and it would last years and years. So usually my prints, I would look into that, Jennifer, definitely, because it could be something. If you start to print a lot, then yeah, it would end up being cheaper, of course. But for me and the amount of prints I do, which isn't a huge amount because I don't really market them at all, I go two options. So I do like a proper, this is on like good cotton rag paper through a professional printer down in Sydney, that so I know it's acid free and all of that stuff, and I can sell it. It cost me a lot more, so that print there probably would have cost me around $24, my price to pay. But I know I can sell it. I could make them limited edition prints. Like, I know it's high quality. I'm comfortable selling that, knowing it will last. Or then I have a different option where I print these smaller ones, which are quite a lot of my members have probably actually got one of these and felt them. They're absolutely beautiful, but they're not acid free or anything. And these actually only cost, depending on the quantity you want to order. I have my logo on that on the back. They only cost about a couple of bucks each to get printed. Okay. But I usually order about 100 of these, and they work out a couple of dollars. I'll put in the comments the company. I've shared it before. This is Australia though. I'm not sure if they ship overseas. But these are more, these I'll sell for like at a market store for $10 each, something like that. People aren't paying $100 each for something that's going, that I think at $10 each, they know straight away this is not going to last their lifetime. Or, it's not something to pass down to the grandkids or anything like that. But they're a beautiful finish. It's a velvet finish, I think I get them. Or I can, at that sort of price, they can be promotional things, which I was going to talk about that a little bit, to sort of things to include in your packaging as well, to make it look really professional. Looks likely. Oh, yeah, I think you could be right. Oh, thanks, Odette. You'll send info about that. We had an Epson 90. Okay, yeah, I can't remember what we had. So Odette probably used to print prints for artists in your framing shop. But it's not like a few $100s. Usually they're quite a few thousand. So definitely think about that, and whether it's worth investing in that right now. That sort of something I think buying your own printer could come later, as you're growing, and if you're like starting to go more into prints. Like I've said before, I've seen some artists that that's all they sell is prints. They have a few, like they're original, but their main income is their prints. Especially if you're setting up like an Etsy shop, things like that. Okay, the other thing, I suppose you could, if you've got larger prints, I wouldn't say original work here. I would say only prints. I don't think anyone, well, you certainly can't roll a pastel. I wouldn't, I don't even like rolling prints actually, because when the customer gets it, they got to unroll it and sit it flat for a while to get it to sit. But definitely if you're rolling it again with the glassine on the face, even a print, roll it up with that glassine, and then make sure like you've stuffed bits of bubble wrap and stuff in the ends of the container, and then put the little end caps on. And of course, again, don't have it shaking around or moving anywhere. But yeah, I'm not a big fan. I know like tubes are great to post, and sometimes you have to if it's a big piece. But yeah, just roll. I just keep thinking at the other end when they're unpacking it. That's what you've got to keep in mind. Their reaction of when they unpack. So when I used to do my art subscription boxes, which one day, fingers crossed, I'll get back into that, I always used to make sure that when they open the lid, it looked beautiful, the packaging. So it felt like they had a present, because they'd bought themselves a present essentially. But so it was in a nice box, and then they with tissue paper and a sticker, and they open it and it had all the little printables. Open it up, and it was like a gift. Everything was packaged lovely. So you always keep in mind how your customer's going to be opening, and what experience they're going to get. Okay, so all right, I wanted to. Oh, actually, first of all, we're going to just talk about like the insurance and stuff as well. So if you're sending off like an original, Australia Post usually most prints, it depends I suppose, but most are going to be valued at under $100. So here in Australia Post, whatever you send as a package already includes $100 insurance. Okay. But you can add insurance with Australia Post up to $5,000. So the extra cover over $100 is $2.50 for every $100 over. Okay, so you can work that out. I'm not sure how it works out. I had to get my brand new MacBook laptop posted to me down in South Australia, and I got extra insurance up to $3,000. And I think it was an extra $50, something like that, to insure it, the extra. So, but with an original, I think it's worth paying. If your piece is worth $1,000, then what's that? That's probably going to be $25 extra insurance if my maths is right. Okay, which I think that is worth it. And again, you can add that into the price of your artwork as well. So when you're selling a piece, if a customer has phoned you and wants to buy it and they live, you've got to ship it, then you're going to have that conversation with them. So make sure you know your pricing, or let them know. You will get back to them once you've gone and seen your post office or got online, checked out, put in your all you have to do is just put in the size of the package and the weight, and online the calculator will tell you how much it's going to be, and then add your insurance on top of that. And then of course add your costs like for your bubble wrap and your box and everything else. Okay. So the customer has to pay that, and unless you've built it into your price. Sometimes you'll see people will sell their work and it's free shipping around the country sort of thing, but they've built that into the price of their work. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do it. I know a lot of people, especially with prints and that, say on Etsy, Etsy always favors people that do free shipping. And because they find their customer, when they've ordered something and they're like, okay, I know I'm paying $80, and then they get to checkout and then find out the shipping's like $35, they balk at that. Whereas if they know, okay, it's $105 or $115 or whatever, when they get to the checkout and it's like free shipping, they're like, oh, great. It's no extra. They already have in their mind how much they're paying. And then when you've got to add shipping on top, or you could compromise and make it, a flat $9 shipping across your whole shop. And then so it's not too big a shipping cost, and most people are expecting that sort of amount. And but you've built that again into your pricing. So there's a lot of different ways to think about shipping. Thanks, Andrea. Andrea was talking about my subscription box, that the packaging was awesome and looked professional. I tried very hard. So but yeah, it was a lot of work, so we'll see if I can get back into that. So definitely, yeah, if you're sending an original piece and it's worth thousands, definitely pay the extra for insurance, and of course get tracking. But pretty much any parcel nowadays has tracking with it. Okay, it's always on, like they'll give you the receipt and the tracking number's usually on there. You could photograph your packaging as well, in case you need to make a claim. So maybe it might be a good idea to just quickly on your phone take a photo of what your package looks like before you send it. That way, if it is damaged, you can show them, no, you did that, not me. So, and then of course you could use a courier service if you're not confident with Australia Post. So I have sent art down to an art competition with Australia Post. The way I said, it was all like sandwiched in, bubble wrapped in a box, sent it down, and it got there fine. And then they had to put it back in the box to send it back to me at the end of the competition. And I feel it was Australia Post, but then I also think it could have been another courier. But when I finally got it, it actually had a hole through, into the box. Luckily, the glass hadn't broken, but it had like a hole about this big. Something had hit straight into it. So it's like, wow, that was scary, because it was a few $1,000 piece, and I'd already pre-sold it. Like someone had bought it in Perth, but I had to wait for it to come back from the art competition that it was in down in Canberra. And when it came back, I'm like, oh my God, I was panicking because I thought it was going to be broken, but luckily it wasn't. And I managed to then ship it to Perth. But how I ship, because that was an art competition, the cost was all on me. So I wanted to go as low a cost as I could. But when I sell a large piece, so my larger pieces are quite big. They're bigger than the cow that you see behind me there. I send them via a proper art courier, and my customer pays for that. So let me just share my screen. This is going to be fun. Place. This is it. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, hopefully you can see this. All right, I'm hoping you can see this, because I can't tell if that is working or not. But IAS, okay, they're an international art courier. So they are brilliant, especially for pastel work. So, but these are my larger pieces are like around $2,500. And if I find if a customer is spending that on a piece of work, they will be more than happy to pay. Usually it used to cost me around $250, so it could have gone up since then. This is a little while ago. So I don't know, I wonder if sorry, I'm just seeing if they've got a photo of how their truck looks. So if you've got a customer spending $2,500 on a piece of artwork, they'll spend $250 on a proper courier. And I always explain to them, with pastel, it's so delicate. You don't want it being thrown around, tipped upside down. Whereas the art, this IAS, they pick it up and their truck, there's no picture. I thought there might be a picture of their truck. But their truck, it's designed in the back of it that all the artwork stands upright. Okay. So you don't even need to really put it in a box or anything. I used to just bubble wrap mine, and then they would come and pick it up from it used to be from my work. They'd come and pick up and they just, it sits upright in their truck, and that's it. And that's how it gets cut, freighted around. Of course, internationally, it would still sit like properly. So you're paying for the service, but it depends again. I mean, of course, you're not going to, if you've sold a original for $300, you're not going to go to that expense of getting it couriered that way. But I find your customers, if they're paying a few thousand, they want it delivered properly and safely and secure, and they'll pay it. Or sometimes what I would do is, if I'm negotiating, because when you're selling paintings that are a bit more expensive, there's a bit more room to negotiate. So sometimes I'll say, well, we'll go halves in the shipping. Okay, so usually, like I said, it used to cost me around $220, $250. So they would pay $110 and I'd pay $110. Or so, and you can feel for the customer, I suppose, when you say, okay, no worries, I can ship it to you, but it has to be shipped through a proper art courier, and it's about $250 or whatever. And you can tell by their reaction. And that's when, if I feel like it might lose the sale, then I would negotiate that shipping. But 9 times out of 10, I think I only went halves once with someone. The rest of the time they've paid it. Or I could make the paintings $2,800 instead of $2,500, and tell them that includes free shipping around Australia. Okay, but so I've done it both ways. I much prefer the art courier than a show you post. Oh, that didn't share the screen. Damn it! All right, let me see if I can just try it again. Share screen window. All right. No. Chrome tab. Share. No. View tab. Is that working? Let me know. It looks like it's working here. I'll wait to see if he's... All right, so this is the website I was trying to share. I think it's sharing. Let me know in the comments if you can see that, the IAS. I'll put their... Yes, you can now. Awesome. So it's IAS. What is there? Let me just... Hold on. I don't want to change screens now because I'm scared. I think it's just ias.au. Yes.au. I'm not sure if that's the website, but I've put it in there. But so this was the the courier. But like I said, I was mainly trying to find, I thought they might have had a picture on here of their truck in the back of the truck to show how all the artwork's standing up, but it doesn't. So all right, but I'm going to stop sharing now. So that's all I wanted to show you of that. Okay. So IAS, yeah, great company. Really look after your work, but you pay for it, I suppose. Okay, so once you've sort of we're thinking of how the customer is going to react when they open their package. And this is where there's all different sort of marketing things you can do. So I usually I get quite a few greeting cards made up through Vistaprint, and I usually wait till they're on sale. And sometimes I can get them for like $1.50 each. Depends how many you order. I quite often will order 100 at a time, but that's only because I have a lot to send out to like my members and stuff, and I use them promotionally quite a lot. But even still, you'd probably, when they're on sale, you could probably get maybe 20 or 30 for $2 each, something like that. Okay, so they haven't cost you a fortune. Same with the little prints as well. So these are lovely little gifts, just to put one in with your print or your original. I even have some of these I got made up. These were from that same company, Mixam. They were just, I think they were an A5, and I set it up and cut them in half. So even though they don't print this small, what they do print is, no, maybe it wasn't that. It was something small they printed, so I just split it in half, the design, and then when they arrived, I just cut them to be the size I wanted them. And they're just a little, like a little inspirational quote card. So this one says, create a life you don't need a vacation from. Okay, and just with some artwork. So that's just something little, doesn't cost a fortune. Yeah, bookmarks, even that. You can order bookmarks. And then, of course, an information card. Okay, so again, it can have it can be a little print on the front for them. You don't have to have a logo if you wanted it to be something they could frame. But then all your information on the back, like QR codes are king now, of course. They make everything easy. So I've just got like my Facebook, my social media stuff on there, my membership, so the Creative Barn membership, QR code. You could even just do a little tiny, like a business card that just has, it might not, you don't need all of that. You could just have artwork on one side and a QR code on the other. Just something, you want something in there that they feel like, oh wow, this is great. I only bought a print, but I got this as well, like a little gift, like a greeting card or a little bookmark or something. But you also need to have your details, like how they can contact you or how they can share with a friend, and they can, it's repeat order and word of mouth is sort of what you're trying to get out there. So this is another, where's that gone? This is another artist. Oh, I've lost her. Hold on. There it is. This is Monica Reeves. So I've bought her stuff a few times from when I do my art retreats. Everyone gets a little gift when I make up a little gift, because I like to give things. So, but Monica's a Tasmanian artist, and so I've ordered a few things over the last 3 years from her to go in my gift bags. And she always, when I order stuff, she sends like a little card. That's the back of it. It has a logo. So I've ordered a couple of things. So I've got 2 cards. Again, a beautiful little postcard here, and then on the back she just got thank you for your order. So she probably gets these made up like 500 at a time, and then she just hands write the name and signs it. The rest is all printed, so all she's got to do is put the person's name and sign it, and it's a lovely little post that comes with it, as well as I think I got, instead of a greeting card one time, this is a little magnet, which is super cute. Okay, so yeah, just and when you open it, like I think I ordered pins or little pencil cases one time, and I was expecting just the pins, and then I opened it and it was packaged beautifully, and it had the little card and this sort of stuff as well, and it just makes it feel like it's an expensive product and that she loves her art and loves what she's sending you. Okay, so little things like that really does help. Michelle asked, do Nick Sam do a white border? I really don't know, but if they don't, all you have to do is on your artwork put a white border on it and then upload it with the white border. So yeah, but you'd have to get on there and have a look. But that's easy solved. Like I said, you just upload your artwork, so you can include that as well. Andrea said she gave bookmarks with your printed Christmas cards. Well done. Yeah, a little bookmark. What a great gift to go with a Christmas card. And they're I didn't use this to print for the bookmarks. I can't remember who I used now. But anyway, I'll yeah. But anyone. Odette said she loves the little gifts of the retreat. Yeah, so super fun. And it's also fun seeing your artwork on all these things as well. All right, I just wanted to also, I'm just going to share quickly. I've got to find where it is now. Hold on. I did make a checklist. Hold on. Is that it? No. Hold on. I've got to find where it is. Oh, it was in Canva. That's right. Okay, let's try this again. Chrome tab. There it is. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, hopefully this works. So this is the checklist. I've got a little link there. So what we talked about today, packaging and posting your artwork. So of course, before you start, we want to measure it and make sure we get the right packaging sizes. Decide if it's going to be shipped flat or rolled. Like I said, I don't like to roll much of anything unless it's really big. And of course, take a photo. That's a good one to remember. Always take a good photo. If it's an original, make sure you take a photo before you put it in a frame. Okay, for later promotion or merchandise and for prints as well. And then of course, place the glassine over the top, foam board so it's sandwiched. And then we've got the little extra printables. That's something you can play with and pre-order those. And then use rigid mailers or boxes. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much just a quick rundown of what we've been over today. All right. Now, so like I was saying right at the start, it can be overwhelming. There is a lot to think about, but once you sort of get your system in place and have those printables and have your packaging tapes and your bubble wraps and your glassine, all of that stuff, packaging it will become kind of like second nature, I suppose. So with the right materials and a few habits, then you'll feel more confident. And like I said, the main thing I think with packaging is make sure it can't move. It's really secure. And then also always think of how the customer's going to receive it and whether they're going to think that you've put care into it and you've made it special, and make them feel special, and know that they love your art. Okay, and you love your art too. All right. Okay, guys, it's been an hour, and I think the stream on this might only go for an hour. I'm not sure. So let me just see any more comments. What's Leslie got? Leslie Michelle, thanks so much for your help. I have some people wanting to buy prints of some recent art I've done. I'm trying to work out the best way to go about it. Do you enhance your art for printing? No, definitely. I don't enhance my art. I will edit it in Photoshop to make it look like the original. Okay, whenever you take a photo, it always has like a dull look to it. So get into any app or Photoshop or whatever you've got and adjust the lighting and stuff, and adjust all the little, there's so many little things you can adjust nowadays, but you want it to look like the original. So when you're looking at the original against the print, okay, it's going to be the same. So you're not enhancing it as in making it look brighter or more blue or more this or that. I want it to look like my original piece. Okay, so that's the only time I would do that. But I usually always, if it's just off a photo, you need to adjust it. But there is an app Odette shared with all of us. Odette said I'll put that one up. She walked 4,000 steps while listening. Well done. Here's another good one from Odette. Take a photo of your art in the frame before you put your glass in. That's a brilliant idea, because you can't take a photo of it once the glass is in because of all the reflection. But if you want a photo of it looking beautiful in the frame, get a photo of it before you put the glass in, which I actually need to do that. Now I'm thinking I need to pull out all the glass out of all mine and take photos. Such a great idea. So I think that I was going to mention when we were talking about taking a photo. Oh yeah, that's it. Odette's just put it in the chat. It's called Photo Scan. It's an app. Okay. And it takes a really great photo of your artwork. So because a lot of times, especially with pastel, you can't put it in a scanner, or usually your work's too big to go in a scanner. So the Photo Scan app, so she's misspelt it there. It's PHOTOSCAN. So Photo Scan. So look up that in the App Store. It's free, so download it and start taking some photos with that. And you'll find you might still want to adjust it, but you'll find a lot of times it's pretty good. It's supposed to be similar to if you were scanning. Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm glad you were all able to find me on this new, let me hide that now. There we go. On this new sort of streaming thing. I still have to figure out, like I said, I don't think it went live to Instagram. I don't know if it went live to YouTube, but we'll see. Yeah, and once I get more familiar with it, I'll be better at it. But I love that I can put comments on the screen and all the rest of it. It's cool. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And I will see you next week. And have a great week, and hopefully you get some art done in the meantime. And all of those in the Creative Barn Premium tier, which a few of you are on here. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys tomorrow for Creative Play, where we'll do some more drawing. Okay, bye guys.